You know, sometimes life will have you feeling invisible, like no matter how much good you do, no matter how kind you are, how loyal you stay, people still find a way to take advantage of you. They use your silence against you. They mistake your patience for weakness, and they think because you're not loud about the pain, you must not feel it. But let me speak directly to the one who's been suffering in silence. God sees. He sees who's been hurting you. He sees what they did when no one else was looking. He sees how they smiled in public but cut you in private. He sees the games they played, the manipulation, the lies, the deception. And listen to me carefully, God is not blind to injustice. Just because he's quiet doesn't mean he's absent. Just because he didn't strike back when they did, doesn't mean he didn't notice. God's silence is not his approval. His silence is strategy. He's not ignoring the wrong, he's stacking it. He's measuring it. He's letting it run its course, because when he moves in ways that no one can undo. I know some of you are tired of pretending it doesn't hurt, tired of forgiving the same people for the same things, tired of being the bigger person while they keep getting away with murder. But what if I told you they're not getting away with anything? What if I told you God is building a case, a divine record of every moment they tried to break you, and every moment you chose to trust him instead of retaliating? That's why you're still standing. That's why you didn't lose your mind. That's why you haven't crumbled. Because something in your spirit still believes that God is watching, and he is. He saw when they overlooked you for that opportunity, not because you weren't qualified, but because they were intimidated by your character. He saw when you helped them, prayed for them, gave to them, and they repaid you with silence and betrayal. He saw how you cried after they left, how you kept showing up to work, to life, to relationships, even with wounds nobody could see. That's the kind of God we serve. A God who sits high, but he looks low. He's not distant. He's not detached. He's not too holy to care about your heartbreak. He saw what they said. He heard what they whispered. He knows the truth behind the version of the story they told. You don't have to explain yourself to people who chose to misunderstand you. You don't have to carry the burden of proving your heart to those who walked away from it, because when the time is right, God will make it known. He will shine light in dark places. He will expose what was hidden. He will vindicate what was dishonored. Let me tell you something. Every tear you cried was seen. Every time you bit your tongue to keep the peace, it was recorded. Every time you chose love over revenge, heaven took note. And the beautiful thing about God is, he doesn't settle scores the way we do. We want revenge, he wants redemption. We want to see them hurt, he wants to see you healed. That's why he hasn't let you fall apart. That's why you keep rising when you should have been broken. Because the pain you went through, it didn't go unnoticed, it's been witnessed. And there's something powerful about being witnessed by God, because when he is your witness, you don't need a platform. You don't need to post about it. You don't need to shout your truth from the rooftops. When God sees, he restores. When God sees, he repays. When God sees, he acts, and his timing is perfect. So let them talk, let them point. Let them play the victim. You just stay faithful. You keep your hands clean and your heart pure. Because while they're busy throwing shade in secret, God is preparing to bless you in public. And when he does, they won't understand how, they won't understand why, but you will, because you'll remember every silent moment, every quiet tear, every unjust moment you endured. And you'll know this blessing, this peace, this elevation, it wasn't luck. It was God saying, I saw who hurt you, and now I'm showing them who protects you. Let that be enough. Absolutely. Here's a 750 word expansion of key point 2. Your pain has purpose. seamlessly integrated into the tone and message of the ongoing speech, delivered in the deep, heartfelt voice of Tony TD JAKSE without ever breaking the flow or using headings. Let me tell you something real, something we don't always want to hear when we're hurting, but need to hear. Your pain has a purpose. I know that's hard to accept when you're still in the middle of it, when the wound is fresh, when the disappointment is real. When the people you trusted the most are the ones who caused the most damage, it feels like chaos, it feels like betrayal. It feels like why me? But that's where the enemy wants to keep you, stuck in confusion, stuck in bitterness, stuck in regret. But I'm here to speak life into your situation tonight, because what hurt you didn't come to destroy you, it came to develop you. You see, there's a version of you that doesn't come out on the mountaintop. It only shows up in the fire. It only gets revealed in the dark. God doesn't use comfort to shape champions. He uses pain. He uses betrayal. He uses loneliness. He uses the storm not to sink you, but to strip you of what you thought you needed so he can show you what you really carry. Don't let that heartbreak fool you. It wasn't the end. It was the turning point. Don't let that rejection lie to you. It wasn't personal. It was preparation. Because God will allow people to walk out of your life to make room for his purpose to walk in. He'll allow certain doors to close because where you're going, you can't carry that baggage. He'll cut what you refuse to release, not to punish you, but to protect you. That pain wasn't a mistake. It was an assignment. It didn't just happen to you. It happened for you, to grow you, to teach you, to prepare you for what's ahead. See, the people who hurt you, they thought they were breaking you. But what they didn't know is they were actually building you. Every lie, every betrayal, every letdown, it was laying bricks. And brick by brick, God was constructing a foundation inside of you, a stronger you, a wiser you, a more anointed you. You didn't lose, you learned. You didn't break, you birthed something, because pain is a midwife to purpose. You had to go through what you went through to become who you are becoming. Think about it. If they hadn't left, you would have stayed in a place too small for your destiny. If they hadn't betrayed you, you would have kept trusting people who were never sent to stay. If you hadn't cried those tears, you wouldn't have discovered the kind of strength that only comes when there's nothing else left but God. The thing that was meant to destroy you, our God, is using it to deliver you. What they meant for evil, God is flipping for good. You thought the pain was pointless, but it was the pressure that unlocked your power. That's why I say your pain has purpose. Because nothing God allows is wasted. Every scar is a story. Every no was a setup for a better yes. Every closed door was God's protection wrapped in disappointment. And I know you may still be carrying pieces of yourself from what happened. But even your pieces are powerful. God doesn't need the perfect version of you to fulfill his plan. He just needs the real version of you. The one that's still standing, the one that's still hoping, the one that hasn't quit yet, even when quitting looked like the only option. So instead of asking, why did this happen to me, start asking, God, what are you trying to show me through this? Because there's wisdom in your wounds. There's strength in your sorrow. There's purpose in your pain. And if you can just hold on a little longer, you're going to look back one day and say, thank God they hurt me, thank God they left, thank God it happened, because if it didn't, I wouldn't have stepped into this. That's how God works. He doesn't just restore, he rebuilds better. He doesn't just heal, he reveals who you really are in him. So don't curse the process, don't despise the pain. God's not punishing you, he's preparing you. And when the preparation is over, you'll step into something so beautiful, you'll realize that every ounce of pain had a divine purpose. Absolutely. Here's a 750 word expansion of key point 3, vengeance belongs to God. seamlessly delivered in the ongoing rhythm and powerful voice of Tony TD JAKSE, flowing naturally within the speech, without headings or any mention of the speaker's name. Let me talk to the part of you that wants to fight back, that part of you that's tired of taking the high road, tired of turning the other cheek, tired of staying quiet while they keep running their mouth, spreading lies, smiling like they didn't do what they did. I know that part. I've been there. You want justice. You want people to know the truth. You want to set the record straight, expose the fake, and let everybody see what really went down. Because something inside you says, this ain't fair. They don't get to just walk away after what they did. But hear me, vengeance is not yours. That's not your lane, that's not your job, that's not your calling. God didn't put you here to get revenge, He put you here to reflect Him. And the moment you start trying to play God in someone else's judgment, you start delaying your own destiny. I get it, you want to respond, you want to clap back, you want to prove your worth, prove your innocence, prove they were wrong about you. But do you really want to waste your energy proving something to people who already chose not to believe in you? Do you really want to step off your purpose just to entertain pettiness? Because here's the thing, God saw what they did, but He also saw how you responded. And that's what He blesses. He blesses the one who didn't retaliate. He honors the one who stayed silent when they could have exposed everybody. He lifts the one who chose character over revenge, because you can't ask God to fight your battles and then try to fight them yourself. You can't say you trust Him and then act like He's not moving fast enough. Let me tell you something, God knows how to humble people far better than you ever could. He knows how to pull the truth to the surface, even when folks try to bury it in fake narratives. He knows how to flip the whole story in your favor, and He doesn't need your help to do it. You're not losing by letting go, you're actually winning, because when you release it to God, you free yourself from the weight of revenge. You stop being tied to their drama, their dysfunction, their version of the truth, and you let God be God. Because He will repay. He will make sure justice is served, maybe not in your timing, but in perfect timing. And don't think for a second that He forgot. God doesn't miss anything. He saw the conversations behind closed doors. He heard the lies whispered in secret. He watched how they tried to damage your name and sabotage your future, and He took note. But while you're focused on them, He's focused on you, because there's something bigger at stake than revenge, your growth. Your next season, your calling, your peace. And peace is something you protect by refusing to pick up battles that don't belong to you. Let God fight it, because when He fights, He doesn't just silence your enemies, He shifts the atmosphere. He changes hearts, He opens doors no one can shut, and He elevates you in front of the very ones who try to keep you down. Let them watch, let them wonder, let them sit in confusion while God blesses the one they thought wouldn't recover. You don't need to curse them, they cursed themselves when they touched God's anointed. You don't need to expose them, their fruit will expose itself in time. You just keep walking, keep loving, keep building, keep trusting, because when God vindicates you, it won't be subtle. It won't be private, it won't be small. He'll do it in such a way that even your enemies will say that had to be God. So don't lower yourself to get even. Elevate yourself by staying focused. Let God handle it, not because they deserve mercy, but because you deserve freedom. And freedom starts when you decide, this battle ain't mine, it's the Lord's, absolutely. Here's a 750-word expansion of Key Point 4, healing begins when you let go. Written in a seamless, emotional, and impactful tone, as if delivered by Tony TD JAKSE within the ongoing speech. It flows naturally with the earlier key points, with no headings, and ends with only the necessary final line for impact. At some point, you've got to let it go. I know that's not easy to hear when you've been carrying it so long. Carrying the memory, carrying the offense, carrying the unanswered questions, the broken pieces, the silent pain. Because what they did hurt you, and not just in the moment, but in ways that lingered. It affected your trust, your confidence, your peace. And now, you're walking through life with a smile on your face, but a weight in your soul. But if you really want healing, you've got to let it go. Not because they apologized, because let's be honest, they probably won't. Not because they made it right, because some of them never will. Not because they deserve your forgiveness, but because you deserve your freedom. See, the enemy doesn't just use pain to hurt you, he uses it to hold you. To keep you stuck, to keep you reliving the moment, replaying the betrayal, rehearsing the injustice over and over in your mind until it becomes your identity. But you are not what they did. You are not the broken moment. You are not the lie they told or the love they mishandled. You are still becoming, but to become, you've got to release, you've got to stop trying to rewrite the past and start reaching for the future. Because as long as you're chained to what happened, you'll never step into what's next. Letting go doesn't mean it didn't hurt. It means you're tired of letting it control you. It means you've cried enough tears, you've lost enough sleep. You've spent enough time wondering why, and now it's time to heal, but healing doesn't come by holding on. Healing comes when you trust God enough to release it all into His hands. Every offense, every scar, every unanswered why. You see, you can't walk in freedom while clinging to bitterness. You can't feel God's peace while replaying the pain. You can't open your heart to new blessings while guarding it with old wounds. It's not that the pain wasn't real, it was. It's not that the betrayal didn't break you, it did. But the fact that you're still here, that you're still standing, that you still have breath in your body and purpose in your life, that tells me one thing: God's not finished with you yet. And if He's not finished, you can't stay frozen in what happened. You've got to rise from it. You've got to release the person who hurt you, not because they were right, but because you're ready to move forward. Some of us are still waiting for closure, but what if I told you closure isn't something they give you, it's something you choose? You don't need them to say sorry to decide you're done suffering. You don't need them to fix it to choose peace over pain. You don't need them to understand how much it hurt to finally say, God, I'm done carrying this, it's yours now. That's what healing sounds like. Not always loud, not always dramatic. Sometimes it's just a quiet decision in your spirit. I'm not letting this define me anymore. I'm not dragging this wound into my next season. I'm not wasting one more day stuck in what they did. Let them go. Let the moment go. Let the version of you who got hurt go. So that you can become the version of you who gets healed. Because healing is not forgetting. It's remembering without the sting. It's looking back and seeing how far God brought you. It's realizing that the same people who tried to break you only helped build the strength you now stand in. And the beautiful part, the enemy thought that pain would keep you bound, but instead it's becoming your testimony. A testimony of grace, of growth, of glory. So today make the choice not for them, not to prove anything. But for your own peace, choose healing, choose wholeness, choose to let go so God can finally bring in everything that's been waiting for the healed version of you. Because healing doesn't begin with revenge or even with understanding.